Everybody loves backyard chickens. They can be tons of fun to take care of, and everyone loves farm fresh eggs. But when you have baby birds running around and a lot of eggs available, snakes are going to be attracted to your yard. It's just part of the deal. So what we set up today was the Atrox barrier system with the chickens, and we took a western hognose snake, which loves to eat baby chickens if they could get a chance, and we turned her loose and we let her take her best shot. So Little Red keyed in right away on the smell of the chickens, and she went straight for those babies. You could see her nuzzling, bumping up against it, trying to figure out a way to get through. Now, this little tiny hognose snake couldn't do it, but we want to give it a little bit more of a challenge. So now we're going to pull out Brutus, the giant western diamondback, and see how the fence holds up to him. So what you're seeing there is Brutus has contacted the fence. It is effectively a barrier to him. The reason that the Atrox snake barrier system is so effective is the snake really cannot figure out a way around it. It can't conceptualize what it is bumping into, and it has a choice. It can either go right, it can go left, or it can go up. When it goes up, it contacts a barrier on top of it. If it tries to bend backwards to go over it, it runs into the A-frame. So the snake is effectively trapped in a tiny little space, and he's just simply not smart enough to figure out a way around it. So in the dog days of summer, kids gather around swimming pools to cool off, and they're not the only ones. Snakes love a big, cool body of water to look for food, to get a drink, to cool off.
Ah, snake!
So with the Atrox snake barrier system in place, you're going to prevent snakes from getting into the pool or the pool area where they could threaten your family. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this beautiful water snake down on the ground and let it take a swing at the Atrox barrier system. A lot more aggressive action than we've seen on anything so far, but it's still moving him in that path of least resistance, which is away from your yard, away from the pool, away from your kids and your pets. It couldn't be more ideal. If a child is bitten by a venomous snake, their chances of survival are much, much lower, simply because you have more venom in a smaller body. The last thing any of us wants to see is a small child playing in their playground and being bitten by a deadly venomous snake. So we've assembled the Atrox snake barrier system around this simple play area, and we're going to get Brutus out again to demonstrate how the Atrox barrier system can keep your children safe in your backyard. When a snake like Brutus comes into a big expanse of grass like this, he's going to look for some sort of cover. And the only cover available is the children's playhouse, and he's going to head straight to it to try and protect himself. He's slowly moving along the fence. See how he's nuzzling the sides of it? He's looking for a hole. He's trying to find a way through, and the fence will actually sort of direct him out away from the yard. So the barrier now has effectively directed him away from the playground, so it worked perfectly. So we put Brutus on the inside of the fence to demonstrate one of the things that makes the Atrox barrier system a superior fence. So what just happened there is the key reason why the Atrox barrier system is the superior snake barrier on the market. Any snake that's caught inside the fence has the ability to escape. The A-frame is only on the outside, so a snake trying to get into your yard can't get in, but any snakes that you trap inside the fence can crawl right out. So many times hunters will set up a blind in an area that they'd like to hunt. Well, unfortunately, snakes will use those blinds as place to hide. Well, luckily, the Atrox barrier system is completely portable, and it takes about as long to set it up as it would take to set up the blind itself. So we thought we'd take out a big old hefty water moccasin and see how the Atrox barrier system holds up to one of those. So once again, the snake has made contact with the barrier. She's trying to find a way through. She can't figure out exactly whether the barrier is solid or not. It confuses her. She turns and goes a different direction. This is not an animal you want to find in your blind at 5 o'clock in the morning in the dark, because if you put your hand on her, she's going to defend herself, and a bite can be serious. So there's nothing more fun than getting out in the great outdoors, going on a camping trip with your kid. And let's face it, snakes are part of what makes the great outdoors great, but we don't really want them in our campsite. So what we've done is we've set up the Atrox snake barrier system around a basic campsite, and it took us about as long as it takes to set up an average pup tent. What we're going to do now is turn a big 6-foot rat snake loose, and I'm really kind of curious to see how this is going to go, because a rat snake is a tree climber. So he's looking for a hole, he's looking for a way to get past it. And now the fence has done exactly what we hope it will do. It's directed him from this direction to that direction. Now, generally speaking, when they get going in one direction, they keep moving in the path of least resistance. So he's just going to keep right on moving and back out into the wild away from the campsite. And in fact, he's gotten frustrated right now and he's turning away from the barrier. This huge snake could not figure out a way over it because of the psychological barrier that's created by the A-frame. So it worked perfectly. So we've tried the barrier on a bunch of different species of snake today. If a snake was going to beat the barrier, this is the one that's going to do it. This is our ultimate barrier challenge. When you see one moving across the ground, they're just like greased lightning, and he can't figure it out. Oh, he's lifting up. Let's see if he figures it out. Okay. He's confused. He's being pushed in the path of least resistance, away from the pool, away from the yard, and back out into the wild.